now, like how you would categorize your UFC run, because exactly what you just said, right? Insane strength of schedule, outstanding performances, right? But if you look at just the results, I know you have high expectations for yourself. So can you be proud of what you've accomplished, or do you sit back and go like, yeah, but I didn't do what I wanted to do?
No, absolutely. I gave up trying to be perfect long ago. You know, when I got into this sport, I watched BJ Penn and Matt Hughes and George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva, all these guys that we looked up to in mixed martial arts, and they all had losses on their record, but at the time they were so dominant that they hardly ever lost. So in my mind, I said, okay, well, I'm not going to lose. There's no reason for me to lose. I'm going to be that good. Then you go through a couple of losses, you grow through failure, you grow through struggle, and you realize, hey, it's all part of the process. You know, me coming in, and you look at my record thus far, 1-2 in the UFC, fighting the toughest guys on the planet at 155 pounds. Every single one of these guys and gals on the roster on any given night can lose to anybody on the roster, especially in the top 10 when you're fighting the toughest guys or gals in the world. So the cards have fallen how they were. I'm not too upset about a debut of the year, starting 2021, and then a fight of the year, capping it off at the end. 2 awards that I hold dear to my heart, and go out there and get my hand raised on Saturday night, and there's even more big fights coming up in the future.
Absolutely. Tony Ferguson is a big fight. You know, he had the famous Dana White privilege line. We all got a big kick out of it. Everybody laughed, and then we brought it up to him today, and he doesn't find it so funny anymore. It seems like he's got a little chip on his shoulder, maybe a little anger towards the organization, I think, but maybe a little bit towards you as well. What do you make of that?
I'm sorry, Tony, but that Dana White privilege line might be the funniest thing that has ever been said on a microphone in the context of mixed martial arts. He's right. I am his boss's favorite fighter. I am Dana's favorite fighter. Dana White privilege is not on the line here. I've already got it. And no, man, it's all fun. You know, I saw him after the press conference. It's all respect. He's going to go out there and try to take my head off, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. But when it comes to animosity, I got no animosity towards him. He's all business. Is it true? Is it blunder? Is it just words? Was his lip service? We don't know. All I know is he's going to run into a buzzsaw on Saturday night, and my Dana White privilege is not going to make a difference no matter what.
Last thing for me, I mean, obviously your track record speaks for itself, but are you thinking about rankings and title shots and what comes next, or is this all about at this point about just coming in and turning in these fan-friendly, amazing performances and then just seeing what comes next?
Man, I'm always looking at the future. I'm always looking at the game. I'm a student of the game, and now I'm a student of the lightweight division here in the UFC, how all the pieces are falling together, how people are in the rankings, who's out of the rankings, who are coming in, who's moving weight classes. There's a bunch of different stuff going on. But I truthfully think that everything in the fight business is up to time and circumstance. The reason I got the title shot back in May was the interesting set of circumstances where Conor and Poirier were tied up for a 3rd fight. Khabib retires. In steps me and Charles Oliveira. Now, there's going to be a scenario on Saturday night where one of the 2 men in the main event win the fight and either retain the title or win the title, and there's not an MMA fan alive that doesn't want to see me rematch either of those guys, Charles Oliveira and especially Justin Gaethje, in a 5-round title fight. So we'll see what happens. All I know is I can take care of business on Saturday night. I'll break bread with Dana and Hunter, and we'll talk about what's next.
Mike, I wonder, I mean, pretty much the entire 6 years that Tony Ferguson was looked at as either the number 2 or number 3 lightweight in the world, you were over at Bellator, you were winning titles, you were doing a lot of stuff over there. Was this a fight that you ever daydreamed about in your spare time, or thought about, or even just used this guy as a barometer for your own performances while you were over there?
Yeah, I made the decision that I was going to test free agency and hopefully, most likely, end up in the UFC right when the pandemic hit. And 2 months straight, I trained in my garage every single day with UFC Fight Pass on, watching every single lightweight, every single minute of every single one of their fights in the UFC. And Tony Ferguson was at the top of the division, you know, at that time when he was kind of going through right off the end of that 12-fight win streak. Still a guy who was looked at as one of the top lightweights in the world, and a lot of people's eyes could have beat Khabib. Tony Ferguson was the first name on our list that we wanted to fight when we came over to the UFC. He turned down the fight and then offered to fight me like a month after Fight Island. I just wasn't ready. I'm away from my family. I needed to go spend time with them, date my wife, and serve my child. And now here we are a 1.5 years later, and it happens. Tony Ferguson's been the guy I've wanted to fight since the very beginning. Now we get to do it on Saturday night.
Yeah, and I think we're all looking forward to it. I mean, you're always extraordinarily open and honest with us, the media and the fans. And so I'm just curious for your honest assessment. I mean, where do you think Tony is at this point in his career?
I don't know. He's probably in the hotel somewhere over here. I think no. I mean, where is he? I mean, he's man, the thing about Tony Ferguson is you can talk about he's lost a step. You can talk about maybe he's lost athleticism or power because of age or whatnot. Yes, he's fallen on some hard times with a couple losses, but just as I said before, when you're fighting the toughest guys on the planet at 155 pounds, you're going to take losses. The thing that makes Tony scary, the reason he is the boogeyman in El Cucuy, is he's so unorthodox and so unpredictable. Not a man alive can emulate Tony Ferguson in my training. There's nobody at Sanford MMA, which I highly regard as the greatest gym on the planet with the greatest coaches. They really can't 100% prepare me for Tony Ferguson because you don't know what you're going to get. What we saw last fight was not what we saw the fight before, and it will not be what we see on Saturday night. It's a crapshoot, and that's why everybody's going to be on the edge of their seat. And might I say, dare to say that we're going to steal the show again.
I mean, do you feel like this fight almost represents, in a way, his last chance to do this sort of title run and be in contention? In a way, does that make him more dangerous, right? You're getting someone who doesn't have much to lose.
I will say I do think he's probably going to be at his most dangerous because you back a guy up into a wall, he's going to come out swinging, especially a guy with a champion heart like Tony Ferguson. I don't think this is an end-all, be-all, fail in its final type of scenario. I don't think we're talking about retirement for him after I beat him. I don't think we're talking, this is his last fight. I think Tony Ferguson, and in the sport of mixed martial arts, when you got a big of a name as a fan-friendly and a fan favorite as Tony Ferguson is, and has the following that he has, he's still a large piece of this promotion at the lightweight division. He's a guy who puts butts in seats and a guy that people want to watch fight. So he's got a career as long as he wants to have it. He will lose on Saturday night, in my opinion, but we'll see what happens after that for him.
Well, last thing for me, I mean, you were talking about how hard it is to prepare for a guy like him. You can't get anybody to replicate his style in training. Is there anyone you can compare him to throughout your own resume, like a fighter you fought who you think maybe somewhat similar, or anything you can sort of reach to with that?
No, I really don't. I mean, obviously everybody's got 2 arms and 2 legs, and we're talking about boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, and grappling. And so of course there's different similarities here and there, but I think when you add in the wrinkle that Tony Ferguson doesn't get tired, he doesn't get finished, he keeps on coming. That's a scary fight. He's got elbows that'll cut you up. He throws them from everywhere. He keeps fighting off of his back when he does get taken down. I can't think of anybody that can emulate Tony Ferguson because nobody can. He's a puzzle to solve, and we're going to try to solve it on Saturday night.
Michael, Justin was in here a minute ago, and he said that his fight with you wasn't a war. Are you kind of surprised that he describes it like that?
Yeah, listen, I like Justin Gaethje, but I gotta call him out on some of the things that he said. Number 1, he said it was boring. Number 2, he said it wasn't a close fight. And number 3, he said it was the first time that he fought somebody to win instead of fought somebody to hurt him. Now that to me is very telling. It's very indicative of a guy who met his match, a guy who stood across the cage from somebody who he was afraid for the first time in his life a little bit to engage with because he knew he met a guy as crazy as he was. All of those things are very telling to me that he wasn't where he wanted to be mentally because I put him in a place where he didn't want to be mentally. I love you, Justin. I respect the heck out of you as a competitor. I want to share the octagon with you for the title by the end of the year after this fight, if you win. But it was definitely a lot closer than he thinks it was.
Outside of fighting, you're getting a bit of reputation as a motivational speaker. I saw earlier this week how to truly order a cup of coffee. I'm curious what you think of that reputation. Feel free to answer it in a motivational speaker.
No, I don't take myself too seriously, man. I don't. I have fun with this. I love these opportunities because people get to see it. People get to see what we're saying, or hear what we're saying, and see what we're doing, and they get to feel something. So I like to use my platform to speak on my experience, to convey a message and tell a story. And I like to have fun on social media. I love that people have fun with it. The Michael Chandler motivational stuff on all the YouTube comments is actually pretty hilarious. But it's also, I think, somewhat of a compliment. I think it hits home for a lot of people, and then a lot of people make fun of it. But people will always criticize things that they don't understand and things that they're intimidated by.
What's your favorite motivational quote?
Favorite motivational quote is Steve Prefontaine: "To give anything less than your best is a sacrifice to gifts."
Hey Michael, over here, to your left, Yeah, how's it
Where's your
going?
microphone? Oh, right
Oh,
there.
sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
okay.
Can you just talk to me about your family's recent decision to adopt another child? Like, what does that mean to you?
Oh man, it was. I got to be honest with you. You know, I have not even been there. You know, we went out to where our son was located during training camp, right, August 12th or April 12th or 13th or whatever, to go get him. And since then, I spent a couple days in the hospitals, a couple days in a hotel room, and then I've been down in Florida training. So I've been, you know, FaceTiming my wife as she is going through the toils of taking care of a newborn. So I feel like I haven't even been there yet. Number one, to serve my wife and be there to help her. Number two, to serve my oldest son, Hap, who is now going to be, you know, not an only child anymore. So I got a lot of catching up to do. As soon as I get my hand raised on Saturday night, I got to get home and be a father to 2 baby boys and serve and love my wife, who's been taking care of our household. But it's amazing. I love my family. I love the gift of adoption. I love my son Hap. I love my new son Ace. And I can't wait for the future to raise these 2 young men into high-functioning members of society.
Mm. Is a father of 2 Michael Chandler going to be more dangerous than father of 1 Michael Chandler?
You know, I think maybe more next fight, once I actually fall in love with my new son and take on that fatherly role. And not that I haven't yet. That might sound bad, but I haven't been able to take myself out of fighter Michael and put myself into father Michael quite yet, a father or 2 yet. So it's all happened so fast. You know, you want to make God laugh. You tell him your plans, and he's gonna supersede your expectations and change your plans every single time. It was precarious timing for him to be born 2-3 weeks before my fight, but I'm dangerous no matter what, man. Y'all have seen me perform. I like to go out there and bite down my mouthpiece and have a good time. I definitely got another why, a little extra wrinkle in my game, a little bit of extra love in my heart.
Looking at your Justin Gaethje fight, in the countdown, it said you kind of like fell into it, like the crowd was kind of erupting, and you got into that war. Against Tony Ferguson, it doesn't seem like it matters who he fights. They're going to get booed regardless because Tony Ferguson is such a fan favorite. Have you had to do anything in camp to prepare or just get your mind so you don't fall into that trap of the fans around you?
No, I haven't, but I will say that. I mean, I remember how big of a support he had in May when I fought Oliveira for the title. The dude's got a following, and his following travels. So I expect there to be and it's the fact that it's Arizona. Obviously, there's going to be a Mexican heritage
Cinco de Mayo, too.
Cinco de Mayo, you know. So turns out I'm going to enemy territory. I didn't even realize that until just now. Thanks for bringing it up. No, but I just competition to me, hand-to-hand combat is the same, whether it's in front of a couple hundred people at the Hearn Center back in Missouri or at these sold-out arenas. I'm going to go out there and do what I do best.
I know you said you hope to fight Justin for the title by the end of the year. Is that your official pick for the main event? You think Justin is going to win?
God, it's so hard to pick against Justin Gaethje, but Charles Oliveira keeps on superseding all of our expectations. It's hard to make a pick. If I had to be a betting man and put money on it, I would say Justin Gaethje gets the slight edge just because he can push for so hard for 25 minutes. We know he's going to be able to do that. So that would be my official pick. And yeah, I think there's no MMA fan on the planet that doesn't want to watch me fight Justin Gaethje by the end of the year for the title.
Hey, Michael, over here. You've been speaking